There's a kind of hunger that has nothing to do with food. You're 5 years old, running to show your mother a drawing you made. You're vibrating with excitement, desperate to be seen. She looks up from her phone for half a second. "That's nice, sweetie." Her eyes are already back on the screen. Her voice is flat. You walk away holding your drawing, and something inside you learns to go quiet. Fast forward 30 years. You're an adult now. Successful, maybe. Functional, certainly. From the outside, you look fine. But inside, you're still that 5-year-old, still waiting for someone to really see you, still convinced that something fundamental is missing. That's emotional neglect. And here's what makes it so insidious. There's no evidence, no bruises, no dramatic stories, just an absence, a chronic, aching absence of something you desperately needed but never received. And because there's no evidence, you spent your entire life wondering if you're making it up, if you're being dramatic, if you're just fundamentally broken. But emotional neglect is real. The damage is real. And today we're going to shine a light on that invisible wound. This is going to hurt, but it's also going to be the beginning of something different, because you can't heal what you can't see. If you're ready to finally understand the invisible wound you've been carrying, do this. Subscribe, like this video, and drop one word in the comments: felt. Because that's what you needed, to be felt, to have someone attuned to your emotional experience and reflected back to you. Now let's name what was missing. What emotional neglect actually is. Emotional neglect is what happens when the emotional needs of a child are consistently unmet, not occasionally, consistently, as a pattern, an absence so normalized it becomes invisible. It's not what happened to you, it's what didn't happen. Your parents didn't tune in to your emotional world. They didn't ask how you felt. They didn't help you name your emotions or teach you how to regulate them. They didn't see you in your fear, your sadness, your excitement. Maybe they were physically present, but emotionally absent. Maybe they provided everything material, food, shelter, education, but missed the most crucial thing, emotional presence. Here's what it looks like. You come home crying about something. Instead of sitting with you, asking what's wrong, your parent dismisses it. "You're fine, stop crying, you're being too sensitive." You're excited about an accomplishment. Instead of celebrating with you, your parent is distracted. "That's nice, honey," said without eye contact, without warmth. You're struggling with something. Instead of creating space for that struggle, your parent either doesn't notice or gets uncomfortable and changes the subject. You learn that your emotions are unwelcome, that your inner world doesn't matter, that you're on your own. And here's the cruelest part. Your parents probably loved you. They weren't intentionally neglectful. They were just giving you what they learned love looked like. And they learned that emotions are inconvenient, vulnerability is weakness. They were likely emotionally neglected themselves. This wound has been passed down through generations. Why it's so hard to recognize. Most people who were emotionally neglected don't recognize it for years. Here's why. There's no story. When people ask about your childhood, you say, "It was fine. My parents weren't abusive or anything." Because it's true. They didn't hit you. They didn't scream constantly. They showed up. They fed you. But how do you tell the story of what didn't happen? How do you explain the absence of emotional attunement? You can't. So you say it was fine, and you believe it, except it wasn't. The damage is invisible. There are no scars, no broken bones, no repressed memories, just this pervasive sense that something is wrong with you, that everyone else got a manual for being human and you didn't. But because the damage is invisible, you assume the problem is you. You must be defective. It doesn't occur to you that you're responding normally to abnormal circumstances. Your parents might be good people. They might have provided well for you materially. And you think, if they're good people and I'm struggling, then I must be the problem. But someone can be a good person and a bad parent. Someone can love you and still fail to meet your emotional needs. Both things are true. You've normalized the numbness. When you grow up emotionally neglected, you adapt. You shut down your emotional needs. You handle everything yourself. And this adaptation becomes your normal. You don't realize that other people don't feel this constant low-level emptiness, that other people have emotional foundations you're missing. The specific damage it causes. Let's talk about what emotional neglect actually does to you. You don't know who you are. When you're emotionally neglected, nobody is mirroring back to you who you are. Your internal experience goes unacknowledged, so you learn to ignore it. Now, as an adult, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you feel. You don't have a coherent sense of identity because you were never given the mirroring required to see yourself clearly. You can't regulate your emotions. Emotional regulation is learned through co-regulation with a caregiver who helps you make sense of what you're feeling. But if that didn't happen, then you never learned how to regulate. Now your emotions feel overwhelming, threatening, impossible to manage. You either shut them down completely or you're completely flooded by them. You're terrified of your own needs. When your emotional needs were consistently unmet, you learned having needs is dangerous. The safest thing is to not need at all. So you became fiercely independent. You learned to handle everything yourself. Asking for help feels like standing naked in a spotlight. But you're human. Humans have needs. And suppressing those needs doesn't make them go away, it just makes them rot inside you. You choose unavailable people. You're drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable, who give you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure. Why? Because that dynamic feels like home. Your nervous system was wired in an environment of emotional scarcity, so emotional availability feels foreign, suspicious. You feel fundamentally empty. This is the core wound, this deep, aching emptiness that nothing seems to fill. Not achievement, not relationships, not anything. The emptiness isn't about lacking something external. It's about the internal foundation that was never built through emotional attunement. The lies you tell yourself. Emotional neglect creates specific lies that keep you trapped. I had it good. I shouldn't complain. You compare yourself to people who had real trauma and think, I have no right to complain. But pain isn't relative. Your wound doesn't disappear because someone else's was different. Stop minimizing. Your pain is valid. I'm just too sensitive. This is what emotionally neglectful parents tell their children to avoid dealing with emotions, and you internalized it. Now you police your own emotions. But you're not too sensitive. You have normal human needs for emotional connection. The problem wasn't your sensitivity, it was their inability to meet you there. You feel fundamentally empty. This is the core wound, this deep, aching emptiness that nothing seems to fill. Not achievement, not relationships, not anything. The emptiness isn't about lacking something external. It's about the internal foundation that was never built through emotional attunement. What healing actually requires. So what does healing emotional neglect require? Emotional attunement from others. You need corrective emotional experiences, people who can see you, attune to you, reflect back your emotional experience accurately. This might be a therapist, a support group, close friendships, romantic relationships with securely attached people. You need to experience over and over that emotional expression is safe, that reaching for connection doesn't lead to abandonment. You need to learn to feel. You've spent years disconnected from your emotions. Now you have to learn to feel them again. Start small. Notice body sensations. Name simple emotions. Create space to actually experience feelings without immediately trying to fix them. This is uncomfortable, but the only way out is through. Grieving what you didn't get. You have to grieve the emotional presence you needed but didn't receive. This grief is profound because you're grieving an absence, not a presence. You're grieving what could have been but never was. Let yourself grieve. Don't rush it. Just feel it. Reparenting yourself. You have to become the emotionally attuned parent to yourself that you never had. Check in with yourself. How am I feeling? What do I need? And actually listen. Validate your own emotions. Comfort yourself when you're struggling. Be the presence for yourself that nobody else was. Learning to tolerate connection. Your nervous system was wired to expect emotional unavailability, so when someone is actually present, it triggers alarm bells. You have to practice tolerating availability, sitting with the discomfort of being seen, allowing yourself to be emotionally held even when every instinct says it's dangerous. Building a coherent narrative. Make sense of how emotional neglect shaped you. Create a narrative that explains your patterns without pathologizing you. I struggle with intimacy because I learned that emotional connection was unsafe. That's different from, I'm just bad at relationships. The shift shifts you from defectiveness to woundedness, and that shift creates space for healing. The truth about emotional neglect. Emotional neglect is invisible, but the damage is real. And your pain doesn't require a dramatic backstory to be valid. You deserved parents who could see you, who could attune to your emotions, who could help you make sense of your inner world. You didn't get that, and that absence created a wound you've carried ever since. But that wound doesn't have to be permanent. You can heal, not by going back in time and fixing what your parents couldn't give you, but by giving yourself, finally, the emotional attunement you've always needed. By finding people who can see you, by learning to feel, by grieving the loss, by becoming the emotionally present person to yourself that nobody else was. It's hard work. It's painful work. But on the other side is a version of you who knows how to be emotionally present, who can feel without drowning, who can connect without terror. That version of you has been waiting to be felt, waiting to be seen. I'm acknowledging it now. Your pain is real. Your wound is valid. The emptiness you felt wasn't your fault. You deserved better, and you deserve healing. If this gave you language for a wound you've carried in silence, drop that word again, felt. Share this with someone who needs to know they're not broken. They're wounded by an absence that was never their fault. You matter. Your emotions matter. Your inner world matters. Now go live like it.